Once upon a time, engineers and producers were stuck recording drums with tape and drum tracks that could not be edited, could not be corrected, could not be shaped or modified in any way. Unless of course you were a ninja with a razor blade, but let's stay on topic. And so only the best drummers and the best productions would rise to the top. And then the digital era of recording has cometh to give a plethora of drum editing options, allowing the playing field to indeed be leveled, and thus equal opportunity for all whom have time, patience, and the right tools to create great sounding drum productions.
But Joey, that just means drummers who suck can now sound like drum gods. They don't deserve it.
Silence, you fools! Drum editing is not just for the weaklings who pretend to be drum gods. Drum editing can and shall be used for good, not evil. Keep watching because in this video, I'm going to explain why editing drums is good for getting more realistic drum performances. Hey there, my name is Joey Sturgis, and you're watching this video because you're probably like me, working with music and trying to navigate this whole world we call audio production. Well, I'm here to help you figure it out and get to the bottom of exactly what you need to overcome your obstacles, increase your skill, and totally master the art of music production. So let's get into it. Let's face it, drum editing is a huge debate from musicians and producers to engineers and beyond. Everyone's got an opinion on it. Some people think that drum editing is fine, others think it has no place in professional music. And for those that are cool with editing, some think that we should keep the edits to a minimum, while others think it's totally fine to edit every single hit. Regardless of where you stand with drum editing, you can't deny that it is a tool that can be used to help create music in a variety of ways, but can it be good for getting more realistic drum performances? Well, the first way this comes into play is with something that's very useful for performing drummers, and that's called phrasing. Phrasing allows a drummer to try various parts of a song multiple times in multiple takes to experiment with various ideas without having to reperform the song all the way through. One way you can do this is by having two sets of tracks in your DAW so that you can record overlapping drum parts across the song. You can actually do pretty much everything with only two sets because you'll likely never have a scenario where you need three overlaps. But with two overlaps, you can play the last hit of the fill going into the verse 1 and pick it back up in the chorus, and then record verse 1, then you can record verse 1 on the second set of tracks. This allows you to try a ton of different ideas on the verse 1 without messing up the intro and the chorus, and without having to make these seams stitch perfectly together every time. By setting it up this way, your drummer is free to be creative without the stress of having to nail the entire song or passage since it's split up, and the result is going to sound more natural. The next way drum editing is great for getting more realistic drum performances is by utilizing additional drum performance layers to enhance the power of a part. You can do this simply by adding a second kick track on top of the drum performance and letting the drummer play the kick along to the song, hitting it on the parts that you want to emphasize. The most simplistic form of this would be hitting an extra kick on the down beats of the song. Because you're adding an additional kick in some of the more powerful parts and beats you want to emphasize, you'll be creating a more dynamic production and a more interesting performance. And since each kick hit will be unique due to the nature of the physics of capturing audio, you don't have to worry about the fatigue you'd often experience by doing this with samples. You can do this with toms and snares too. In fact, one of my favorite producers, his name is Machine, and he's worked with bands like Lamb of God and Suicide Silence. He does this kind of work with drums all the time, and it sounds incredible, but also still very natural. Another way editing allows you to get more realistic drum performances is by using time correction as a way to allow the drummer to focus on hitting hard. Sometimes when you're focusing on hard hits as a drummer, it can be hard to stick within the pocket. A few hits here and there can go off time because you're trying to hit really hard instead of stay on the groove. However, these hard hits will sound better, and so a little bit of slicing and dicing on these hits that might fall slightly behind the beat allow you to recalibrate the performance in the pocket without having to worry about wimpy hits. The last way you can use editing to get more realistic drum performances is to allow the drummer to get his parts down and then take samples of the kit at the end of the session to layer on top of the existing performance to get an enhanced sound. Doing this allows your mixes to be more punchy because the samples you use from the kit can be created with the best possible hit. Having the drummer playing in the most optimal way can make the drums sound overall more incredible. And when you layer the drum sound like this, you also get more consistent sound because the tuning of the drum has been recorded, and thus it won't fluctuate like a real kit would from take to take. Anyway, this is what I think, but there is something that is always more interesting, and that is what you think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe and follow to see more. Do you want to learn more about my audio production process? Well, you're in luck because I've teamed up with Creative Live to give you my exact methods for for audio production step by step in what we call the Studio Pass. This class is packed with everything you need to craft audio productions just like mine. Click the link on this video to enroll now. I will be compensated when you make a purchase. I'm also going to make a special offer. If you purchase the class, send me a receipt to support@joeysturgistones.com and you'll get a free JST plugin up to $49 in value. How awesome is that? Click the link on this video and grab my Studio Pass class with Creative Live. Now stick around because tomorrow I'm going to be talking about how to make your mixes sound like your favorite artists. That's all for now. Happy mixing.